I'm Jacob Kelley from Shallow Graves Magazine, and I am here with with one of the many hardcore icons and creator of hardcore, Tommy Dreamer.
Thank you. He's the hardcore guy. He's the creator of hardcore. It's actually Terry Funk is the godfather, Mick Foley's the father, and I'm like the crazy uncle.
The crazy uncle of hardcore, Tommy Dreamer. So I have many questions for you.
All right.
I grew up watching a lot of wrestling. Of course, I watched a lot of ECW, a lot of WCW, WWE, even though most of it was before my time. I would go back and watch it.
You look pretty young.
Yeah. So I would, of course, watch your matches, you and Mick Foley, with the ladder match with Edge and Terry Funk. I would watch Sabu, all that. And I was wondering, since you are one of the many, I wouldn't say, creators of hardcore, but founders of what hardcore is in wrestling today.
Right.
How would you explain hardcore wrestling to people who do not know?
Real quick and easy. WWE used the word hardcore to sell DVDs, and they made it all about blood and violence and all that stuff. Not really the case. To me, hardcore is a work ethic. It's going above and beyond to entertain wrestling fans. And every wrestler that goes out there and works their ass off, they are hardcore. WrestleMania everybody was at hardcore. This last pay-per-view was hardcore. But yes, we stepped it up a bunch of ways. But I mean, you look at Triple H going into thumbtacks against Mick Foley. It's all about a work ethic and just doing whatever you can to make the fans and your matches memorable and happy.
You mentioned WWE, and this brings me to a question I've been wondering, and a lot of fans have criticized WWE's tenure of ECW back in 2006 to 2008.
Correct.
What is your take on that? Did you think that they followed the guidelines of what ECW used to be?
I said I couldn't do an unlicensed interview by myself. I could do it with Tommy.
There you go.
Just momentarily, though. So it's really difficult to get us in the same interview because of the size of
Our asses.
Obviously, somebody's getting bumped out of there.
There's a gravitational pull of both of our asses, too. Anyway, talk about WWE's ECW, you know there was a lot of great moments. It wasn't what people wanted. The best way I kind of describe it is if there's a divorce and two people have to raise their child, there's always going to be disputes of how you raise your child and who has custody over that child. So that's kind of it. But you know what? It gave us
raised that child
a lot differently. But
have a nice day.
It gave us. It allowed myself to be a part of WrestleMania with my friends. It allowed for a lot of talents to get called up, like CM Punk, Kofi Kingston. It basically what is now NXT was, but NXT was done right. ECW was not done the best.
There's a lot of also criticism about how WWE treated the ECW stars, preferring theirs above the others. Like how Rob Van Dam was supposedly treated wrongly compared to John Cena and such. But yet, even in the One Night Stand pay-per-view, Rob Van Dam was cheered and cheered. Would you consider yourself one of those people that was treated wrongly, even though you are one of the many hardcore legends of ECW?
It's hard to say because here's why. Wrestling is... Actually, I'll give you a better example. In the movie Grease, the producer of the movie wanted Lorenzo Lamas to play, what was his name? Danny. And the director wanted John Travolta. I'm sorry, reverse. The director wanted Lorenzo Lamas. The producer said, I want John Travolta. And then it got down, and then the producer said, if it's not John Travolta, I'm not doing this movie. So he was just cast in that role. Paul Heyman saw something in me that maybe Vince McMahon did not. As well as, if you think about it, for me, every time I walk out there, people cheer ECW. Do you want that to represent WWE? So I get it, If wrestling was real in the sense that we were fighting for real, Brock Lesnar would be champion. I would have had a much better career because I'm pretty tough. So would Bully Ray, but it's not. But the fans always appreciate my hard work, so it's cool. And if you think about ECW, man, I made no money in ECW, but it made me the man I am today. But in WWE, for not getting treated right, which I disagree with because I had a great relationship with Vince, still do, I was able to buy my parents a home. And my parents got screwed out of a lot of money from the original ECW. I was able to buy me a home, so it's different. And you can't say Rob got screwed out of it, because Rob was also the champion of both.
WWE champion
Yep.
and ECW champion.
There's always two sides to every story. And then there's also the truth. So
Another question is,
that's why we have this, so people can pick up on it.
another question is we have House of Hardcore. Do
Yes.
you mind explaining to people who maybe
House of
don't know about
Hardcore,
that?
when people say, what's the difference between House of Hardcore and WWE? I say absolutely nothing. It's still professional wrestling. What's the difference between the Cubs and the White Sox? It's still baseball, but it's different players, different fan base, and a different management style. And this is my crazy vision of professional wrestling. And it's kind of what I love to do and what I will keep on doing until I can't wrestle no more.
Would you say that House of Hardcore is more of, not the original ECW, but kind of like
There's a
what you would
throwback
wish?
to it, but I don't ever want to. I've gone way and above to try to make it not like ECW. But when you put two guys together on the show and then they say, oh, it's an ECW reunion, but I kind of got away from all that. And most people have I've established the brand. We're on Twitch, which is cool. And I'm just going to keep on plugging away. So that's all I can do.
All right, and I have one last question
All right.
before we have to break.
I'm here for you.
And this is kind of personal because I've been curious about it with you and Mick Foley and such. How do you recover, and if you do feel pain, how do you handle it with all the matches that you've been in, where there's been thumbtacks, barbed wire, flame,
Yep.
even?
Well, I'll tell you, the older you get, the harder it is to recover. At Slammiversary, recently for Impact, I broke my hand. I have a hard time gripping my hand. Last night I got choke slammed through a table and it did not break, and my lower back is killing me. So the recoup time is hard. I don't live a life of pain, but I know it's going to come to an end one day, so I just keep on doing it. I wrestled 187 shows last year. I'm on par for about the same this year, and I'm just going to keep on going away. Mick's had a hip replacement, and unfortunately he can't wrestle anymore. There's a lot of guys who can't. I'm happy I still can.
All right, thank you. This has been Jacob Kelley with Shallow Graves interviewing the crazy uncle of hardcore, Tommy Dreamer.
Thanks, buddy.